Yeah, it's me.
Get it on. All right. Hey, everybody! Gotta grab the wine, eh? Welcome to Wine Wednesday with the Whisperer. We are having another fantastically fun open chat because we're still waiting on some responses from some of our key guests coming. But we're just glad to be here. Glad that you're here. Hi, Kim. Salty's already with me. Grab your glass. It doesn't have to be wine, but I happen to have found, I found some of the cheaper wines that I see at like Payless and such end up being really good. And so I tried this Instigator. I thought it suited me well, and I actually like it quite a bit. So let me know what you're drinking on tonight. Don't care if it's Gatorade, just let me know. And again, it's open chat. So I'm just here waiting to hear what you guys want to talk about. Put the link up already. Feel free to join or come on in or comment and we'll just chat. Here we are. All right. Hi, Salty. What you been up to? Oh, Salty's on mute, so I'm talking to myself. Okay. All right, guys. Well, you know how we go with this. Uh, if you leave me on to my own devices, I'll end up rambling on and on about whatever's going on with me. So let me know what's going on with you. Kim says Dan must be drinking too much potato juice because he's not here yet. Just kidding. And let's see. Thanks for at least chatting with me, Kim. I hate getting up here when there's not a guest, and I just got to kind of wing it for a minute, but I know I'm with friends, so it's all good. Hey to everybody on Facebook also, and how are you guys? What's going on? Your nudie died. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me know in the comments, guys, who keeps nudibranchs? Who keeps them? Do you have troubles with them? I know, Kim, that in my personal experience, in my macro tanks, I absolutely loved putting the cool, unique little nudies in there, but they never did seem to last long. It seems like, I give seahorses and fish a lot of credit for being really smart, and yet they do some dumb things. But nudies, they are like I'm probably saying the word wrong. They're magnetally, how do I say that, Salty? They're like a magnet to the power heads and the wave makers. Am I right? And I cover my wave makers and power heads always, of course, to keep the seahorse tails safe. But yes, I've lost a few of the nudies. So anyhow, um, and not many, yeah, Kim, I've noticed also that not many people keep them. They're really cool. And I've seen some really unique, different species coming up lately. But, I definitely am not the pro nudie keeper, I gotta say. Anyways, what happened in your situation? I'm curious. What happened with yours? What was the story? Because I've often, another interesting thing is a lot of times, I think Sam and I talked about this before. A lot of times, whether it be in seahorse tank or, reef tank, whatever, I will think that I've lost a fish or invert or something and then find it in the refugium. I'm wondering how many other people have had this happen. For instance, just to name off a few, my 6-line wrasse, found him a month after I lost him in the sump. He had not jumped. He had made it down to the sump somehow. Also, my peppermint shrimp, they constantly end up in very odd places. And I've even, if you want me to be real about it, I've even found a seahorse in an overflow, like I have on my 65-gallon tank. I have a situation where it's an overflow box, and I found a seahorse in the overflow box before. So here I am giving them credit for being smart, and yeah. But anyhow, hi Lucy. I'm up here just rambling again. But anybody who wants to join, feel free. If not, I'm just going to chat with you guys in the comments. I did touch base. I am lining up some very special guests, guys. So stick with me. I just got to get on their schedule too. You know how it is. So we will have some exciting things coming. But until then, here we are. I'm sure Dan will jump in if he can. And so anything you guys want to chat about, I'm here. And let's see. You can't see the video, Lucy? Everybody else, let me know if you guys can see the video. It looks good on my end. Denny, hi, I just saw your comment. Yeah, those critters get into all kinds of places. And folks, we're talking about reef critters, all right? But yeah, I hear you. And I was just rambling, but tell me your story. Have you had any, which of your critters have wound up in the refugium? When we don't have a guest and we don't have a topic, it's open, guys. Talk to me, talk to me. And it's fine if you're new at this. Obviously, we are an extremely laid back channel, and we're mainly here to, obviously have fun. We get together once a week. I bring the wine, and I have a good time, anyways. But no, I'm kidding. We get together for anybody who wants to share information, who's having troubles with any kind of situation, whether it be reef, seahorse, macroalgae, whatever. If you're having an issue, or you want to share something you've learned, or you can comment in the comment section, or you can join via the link on YouTube. And if it doesn't work, let me know, because I can always try to make it work a little better for anyone who's having trouble. But it seems like most people like to stay in the comments anyway. So anyways, if you have trouble, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, I just show up every week and we chat. And as I was saying before, we'll have some really cool guests coming on that'll be a little more informative and a little more structured Wine Wednesday. But for the main part, we just have fun and help each other. It's a community thing. So Denny says in his reef, mantis shrimp and somehow fish, yes, them too. Yes. And, because we're kind of a mixed channel where we talk seahorses and reef, sometimes there get a little bit of a, confusion, because seahorse people are like, mantis shrimp, whereas in a reef, it's a different situation. So anyways, just thought I'd make that comment, but I hear you. I'd love to hear more about mantis shrimp, because I've never had any experience with them. So would love to hear about your experiences with those sometime. And you're in the planning stages of setting up a tank. Okay, what kind of tank are we doing? If you say seahorses, I'm going to jump for joy. No, I'm kidding. But we love all tanks here, so we want to hear about all of them. And we often have people, I saw Reef Dudes was live streaming just a little bit ago, and I think he's off doing some really cool coral thing. Really cool. Check out his channel, of course. But he pops in now and then. You just never know what you're going to get on a Wine Wednesday. And open chats are, little slow going, but we have fun. And Seahorse, yes, woo! I love hearing that the Seahorse tanks are coming. Okay, well, let me know what you have going so far. We do a lot of videos in Wine Wednesdays talking about Seahorse tank setup and, feeding and all sorts of different stuff. But I'm curious where you are in your journey. And, oh, you were at Macna? I'm jealous. I missed Macna. That darn hurricane, and I just honestly had trouble at the airport. So I was devastated to miss it. But luckily for me, the two events that I was hosting, which were Women in Reefing and then the Seahorse and Pipefish, luckily for me, I had great people there, handling the events. Lucy was there, Paula was there, and actually for one of them, I actually got Skyped in, so it was really cool. I was able to still talk with people. But how did Mackinac go for you? Tell me, what did you learn there? What was your favorite get-together, speaker, event, booth? Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you loved. I love hearing about it. And I'm trying to follow the comments, guys. I'm up here rambling. Sorry. But yeah, Denny, tell us what you got going on in your Seahorse tank. And I feel like I feel almost, guys, like I could put up some music and you guys could just talk in the comments. Who needs Kelly, right? No, I'm kidding. I just, I wish, I like when people join, but I hear, I know how it is. It's cool. I know Lucy joins all the time, but she has internet troubles. It is what it is. Whatever. Yeah, I know. I love you, Kim. I love you. But anyhow, all right. So let's go back to comments since no one's joined. All right. Tell us everything about your tank. Yay, Denny. Yes, yes, yes. What's stinking for Lucy? Okay. Oh, Lucy's internet's sucking. We got to do something about Lucy's internet for sure. I know. And oh man, I'm sorry. I wish I could make it better. And let's see. Okay, so Denny said right now just a reef tank, planning the budget and hardware for the Seahorse tank. Well, I will tell you, that is the best answer you could possibly give. Because the thing is, when people are setting up for seahorses, a lot of times, let's talk about that. So in Seahorse Sources group the other day, I saw a post where the person posting said, I see a lot of issues. All the posts are issues. And, I looked through the posts, and a lot of them were issues because people set up for seahorses, not really sure what they needed to do, and then come for help afterwards. So, first of all, I think it's amazing and great that you're researching first and planning to do a proper setup. That is A plus. Um, but also, I took that post and tried to turn it into a let's show all our healthy and awesome seahorses because as oh, who was it? I think it was Holly. No, it was Lisa. Lisa, an admin, made a comment. I believe that often people only ask questions or share when they're having troubles. So we do absolutely promote the sharing of success. Please share your successes. Denny, when you get your tank set up, please share. We would love to see it, and can't wait to see how well you do. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people only share when they're having troubles, and so it's great when people share their successes. So go check out that post in Seahorse Sources group. And yeah, I see Cheryl joining. Hi. I see, let's see. Chris, hello. How are you? I'm up here winging it yet again. So feel free to jump in or comment if you'd like to talk about anything in particular. And I'm going to these comments because they're easier to read, guys. But all right. So A plus planning the tank. A plus, okay. I think Holly asked, what species do you like for seahorses? We talked a little bit about that last week. We can, of course, talk about it again. With species, I personally think that it depends on the area in which you're located. In the U.S., we often say that Hippocampus erectus, are the easiest seahorses to care for. However, if you're in Australia, as we discussed last week, where Chris Carey and Sam Banfield, where these folks live, they have a different opinion because of what's available and what's being bred captively. Seahorse Australia has some really unique seahorses, and we've talked with Chris on this channel multiple times about how some of the seahorses that he considers really easy to raise are just different than what we even have available here. So the answer is basically look where you're located, try to find people who know what they're talking about, like here, and ask specifically in your area what they think is the easiest seahorse. So I know that was a complicated answer, sorry. In the US, I would say Erectus. In Australia, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they have actually really, really cool, they have H. whitei. I might be pronouncing it incorrectly. White's seahorse, I believe. Anyhow, they are extremely easy, and Seahorse Australia has a very healthy, hardy, captive bred stock. So if you're in Australia, check them out, of course. And I think Sam said last week that she really liked subs, but they're kind of difficult. Anyhow, go look at last week maybe, and my personal opinion in the U.S. is that Hippocampus erectus are the easiest, and that's what I would suggest starting with in the U.S. Also, speaking about what's available, is sometimes even if you're good at keeping seahorses or experienced, some of the species are just difficult to find. So there's lots of tricks for getting the seahorses to color up, or whatever you want to, whatever your goal is. We can obviously help you with that. But yeah. All right, now I'm going on. Hi, Sean. All right. Anyhow, hey, Lori, we've got an open chat going tonight. Actually, guys, we were talking last week. Lori, I never got around to putting up the links to the illness posts. So if you want to share those in the comments, feel free. If not, I can work on that later. But yeah, Lori was one of the people that I discussed last week, guys, when we were talking about crypto and oh, Salty, you got to get in here and help me. What were we talking about? We were talking about different parasites, different problems, and stuff like that. And Lori is one of the people that I recommended in saltwater reef keepers. I can't even remember the name of the group, guys. I'm sorry. It's SARK, Saltwater Aquarium Reef Keeper, something like that. Anyways, I'm sure she'll post the link to that group in the comments. I'm just sure. But anyhow, she is an admin in that group, and Mark from Me Loves Reef is in there, and they're really great at guiding people in the right direction when it comes to these answers. So anyhow, hi, Lori. Sorry for calling you out. I was saying when we first started that, when I start the open chat and people have not joined, I kind of end up here rambling. So I got to kind of go with the comments and go from there. But when we have guests, it's a little more better. Yeah, but all right. And Cheryl is in the comments saying, please do not mix combs with other species. Absolutely. You're by the Gulf of Mexico, Denny. I still honestly would, I don't know exactly for that area how shipping would work, but let's hope that Dan from Seahorse jumps in, because I'm not real clear on what your best option would be in that area. But if you can order from Seahorse Source or Seahorse Savvy, that'd be my recommendation. All right. And well, what do you guys think? Do we want to talk reef stuff tonight? Do we want to talk seahorses? Tell me what you want to talk about, guys. I really hate these open chats. I love you guys, but I hate the open chats. I admit it. Let me just sip on some wine here. Ah. Okay. Oh, Kim said that you're very close to Gulf Coast ecosystems for macros and such. Very good. Is Denny in an area, Kim, where he could purchase from Seahorse Source or Seahorse Savvy? And Larry, I did see your question about tips for coloring them up. Give me 1 second, and we will talk about that in just a second. Let me stall here. All right. Okay. All right then. The request is tips for coloring them up. All right. And Kim said yes, you can order from Seahorse Source or Seahorse Savvy. All right. Tips for coloring them up. Everybody, put your comments in if you have your own opinions. When I look at coloring up seahorses, I personally do a couple of different things. First of all, and Dan has said this repeatedly on this channel, so I'm not stealing the advice, I'm just borrowing it, right? But putting a blue background on the back of a seahorse tank is really the thing to do, okay? I know that there's a lot of reef people watching. Of course, with reef tanks, we like the black background because it helps us do better pictures, and it just helps the colors pop more on coral and etc. But with seahorses, I honestly have no idea what the scientific, logical reasoning is, but I'm telling you, putting a blue background on the tank and sometimes even around the tank will really help them color up. If you notice, most of the breeders that are breeding seahorses use the blue tubs. I don't know if it's, seahorses looking back into their childhood or what. I'm sure it's not that, guys. But bottom line is, put a blue background on the tank. It just helps them color up better. They just end up bright yellow seahorses with a blue background. That's the answer. Okay, number one. Number two is the things that you put in the tank. I've noticed that when I do a natural tank where I've got just like the green macros and or rock, or the rock has like a gray tint to it and that kind of thing, the seahorses will turn the color of the rock. In my 65 gallon natural tank right now, the seahorses are all this really, I mean, I think it's beautiful. They're this silvery rock colored color, and I like it and it's cool with me, and I think that they feel just the way that they should feel, so I'm good with it. But if you want them to be yellow, if you want them to be red, actually red doesn't usually work, but if you want them to be yellow, then you put yellow decorations in the tank. Aim for colored ornaments that will bring out their colors, because seahorses blend in. That's what they do in the wild, that's what they do in the tanks. If you have things that are black, they're going to turn black. I've shown in one of my videos, I show a seahorse like curling up and hanging out too often on a sponge filter, and that seahorse was black as night. And then I showed a picture the next day of it bright yellow because it was over on yellow ornaments. So I would say, let's see. I'm trying to see if you guys are giving tips in the. Oh, Cheryl's out there talking about combs. All right, I'll let her do her thing. But any other tips, you guys, that you can think of for coloring up seahorses? My 3 again would be blue background on the back of the tank, ornaments in the color that you want them to be, except for red, because for some reason seahorses must see red as black. It just doesn't work. And Kim has mentioned chains. That would, for me, fall under ornaments, because chains to me are ornaments. But a lot of times in the tanks that I'm like growing out seahorses, I will use suction cups attached to the yellow plastic water or saltwater safe chains that you can get at Lowe's and such, and use those on the, suction it to the bottom or the side of the tank, and that gives them a yellow ornament to curl up to and blend in with, and then they're yellow. The other thing that I just thought of that I could mention is feeding. And too bad Ray didn't join us tonight, because he's all about the feeding conversation, right, guys? But if you want to check any of that, go look at the previous Wine Wednesdays. But the bottom line is that if you're feeding right, if you're keeping them really full, healthy, and giving them variety in the diet, I've just noticed that they have a shimmer or radiate, this color that's not really a color kind of thing. Okay, we're not scientific here, y'all. we're real. And I'm trying to read comments too, but yeah, I would say background, ornaments, feed them right. And if you want to talk about that, we can. But anyhow, Dan, if you're out there, join. I hate talking to myself. Okay. All right, guys. What else we got going on? And Holly and Cheryl are having a great conversation on Facebook about tiger tail, combs, seahorses, all that good stuff. All right. Kim says, talk diverse diet, please. Okay, sure. Thanks, Kim. And yeah, guys, if you want a link, just let me know. All right, diversity in the diet. Okay, we've had lots of conversations about this, but shh, kids. All right, lots of conversations about this, but I'm sorry, I was reading a comment too. Denny said, sounds like when coral are healthy, they get really good colors too. Absolutely. Feeding rate is crucial in any situation, right? Anyhow, with seahorses, feeding diversely would include keeping mysis as the staple diet in a captive bred situation. If you've got captive bred seahorses that are trained on frozen mysis, my personal opinion is keep them on frozen mysis as the staple diet. It's easier on the hobbyist. It's, as long as you're using a quality food like PE mysis or hikari, and keeping it under the expiration date, making sure that it's not brown in color, and making sure that it stays frozen. As long as you're making sure you're feeding quality frozen mysis, I personally keep that as the staple diet for seahorses. And then when I say provide variety, what I mean is, number one, I sometimes give frozen brine shrimp as a treat. I'll, do different things to it, like I don't know. We're not going to get into soaking in vitamins this conversation, but because there are different opinions about that. But I will give it to them as a treat just once in a while. An even better diverse treat would be giving them live treats. We used to be extremely afraid that if you gave a captive bred seahorse that's trained on frozen mysis live foods, that they would revert back to wanting uh, live foods all the time. But the fact of the matter is that a captive bred seahorse isn't really reverting back to anything because they've been eating frozen most of their life. As soon as they were 4 to 5 weeks old, they were trained onto frozen and they've been eating it ever since. Now, the breeders often give live treats, but they feed frozen mysis. So it's okay, is the bottom line. They're not going to revert back to anything unless you're talking about wild caught seahorses, in my opinion. And in my opinion, diverse feeding includes mysis as the staple diet, and then feeding live treats that often have been fed dance feed with probiotics or whatever kind of enrichment that you want to. Obviously, I'm getting into some deep things that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just raise your hand, put up a comment, because we can always go over it again. We've talked about it multiple times. But anyways, enriching live treats is the way to provide the best variety to the diet. In my personal case, what I do is I feed frozen mysis 3 times a day, and then 3 to 4 times a day, depending on if I get that last feeding in. And then I don't keep cultures. It's too much work for me unless I'm actually raising fry. If I'm raising fry, then I'm hatching Artemia and all that nonsense. But if you're just talking about a hobbyist, feeding their seahorses, coloring them up, feeding them variety, keeping them healthy, I feed frozen mysis 3 times a day, and then I buy live treats like once every few weeks, once a month, something like that. I'll go to a good resource that I trust. You can have your own resources, or I go to a store that I trust and I buy live Artemia. I also buy live mysid shrimp from Socks, I believe is how it's pronounced. I can provide that resource if you need it. But anyways, and then when I get these live foods in, I just feed them. I personally use Dan's feed with probiotics, and I feed that to them right before I feed them to the seahorses. And then if I'm keeping them for any type of extended time, I'll use some sort of, depending on the feed, spirulina or something like that. Let's see. Cheryl said once they are solid on frozen, they tend to prefer it over catching prey. They get lazy. I couldn't agree more. Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. They do get lazy. And boy, if it means chasing food, they're like, where's my frozen? But, that's actually another good reason why I think it's really important to give them live treats. Some people might disagree with me, and that's fine. But I think that the laziness can be assisted by providing live treats. They have to run after them, they have to chase them, and I think that's kind of good for them. And I don't know, yeah, pizza, right? I know that for instance, when I got my piebalgs, I kept them on frozen for like a week or two, just while they were getting adjusted. I didn't want to really, mess with them. I just let them get adjusted. Actually, it wasn't even a week or two. It was probably a week. And then I gave them a live treat. I purchased one. I thought, hey, I'm going to give them a boost. And I enriched and I fed it to them. And those seahorses were literally like, pizza! For real. They were head over heels trying to get it, fighting with each other. It was nuts. So let me know your experiences in the comments, and what else you consider important when it comes to feeding seahorses. Now, guys, for the record, just to let you know, many, many, many people feed just frozen mysis. That's fine. It really is. I believe it's fine. I know that one of our wonderful members who kept a seahorse alive to the age of 11. I have to correct myself. I said 14 last year. It's actually 11. And I believe that she wasn't doing any kind of live treats. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe she was just feeding frozen mysis. So, It's obviously not a terrible idea to do that. Just if you want to provide more nutrition, this is the way to do it. So, okay, did I answer that long and did I answer that good enough, guys? Let me know. Oh gosh, we got the wild hair going on. Sorry. All right. Anyhow, um, let's see. Uh, I can't follow the comments, guys. I'm sorry. You guys are off on your own topics. And if anybody wants to join, because I love Wine Wednesday, but I hate sitting up here talking to myself, guys. I've said that a couple times. Yeah, the hair. I didn't do anything to it, so whatever. Anyways, and if you're in the comments and you're a reef tank keeper, tell me about your reef tank. Lori, if you're still out there, I would love to hear how your reef's coming along. We see the awesome and beautiful pictures, but you know, lots of people want what you have. We'd love to hear how it's going and any complications you may have run into. Let us know. And Cheryl, yeah, if you want to talk combs and such, you got to get in here because I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right, Kim, since it looks like it's me and you over here, who joined? Salty's back in, looks like.
Yeah, I made it back.
Hi. Sorry. I didn't mean to call you out. Um, what other comments, questions am I missing since I'm up here rambling?
I'm still looking. Sorry, I've been on baby duty.
Oh, baby duty. Well, that's way more important than Seahorse Wine Wednesday duty for sure. Take care of that first always.
I didn't really see anything that you missed.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, what else can we chat about, Sir Salty, until we get questions?
I'm changing the size of my seahorse tank.
Yeah? Why are you changing the size of your seahorse tank?
The where the tank was supposed to go, the 125 didn't fit.
Oh, hate that.
Yeah, with the sump and everything I wanted to use, it just didn't fit and didn't work out. And then I had an opportunity to sell it, so I sold it.
And what tank size are you putting in its place?
Right now I'm thinking either a 75 or a 90 because I can only go 4 foot wide.
Gotcha. That's always been something that I always forget to do is measure beforehand myself. So I feel your pain. I do. Um, that it
Yeah,
does.
I got too
Go ahead.
got too excited. Yeah, I wanted the bigger seahorse tank and didn't measure, and yeah, it didn't fit.
You know what though? I mean, in the seahorse world, we always say go bigger, go bigger, go bigger. We always say that. But the thing is, man, it's a lot to take care of, when you get really, really big. I have 65s that my favorite tank is probably, oh, Lord, hang on. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, guys? I forgot to plug in the computer. Hang on so we don't lose everybody. All right, there we go. Sorry. Okay. So, anyways, as I was saying, my 65 gallon is probably my favorite tank. Just the shape of it works for me. I just like it. Uh, and it does have a sump to provide more water volume. But when I got a 90-gallon tank, man, it is like a heaping big, huge difference in, care, maintenance. So, and just providing the right equipment and the right media. It's just a lot more to do. But and Denny, what size tank are you going with? Did you figure it out yet? And Salty. So anyways, you're trying to decide on the new tank size now and rearranging all of the plans, or what?
Yeah, yeah, we're kind of redesigning the whole area just to see what we can fit.
I love it. I mean, I know it sucks, but I love it. I love when people want it so
Yeah,
badly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have plans for a bigger reef tank, and where it's going to go, I can't put anything else there. It's just a whole bunch of moving stuff around to figure out where I can make the most amount of room.
Gotcha. I know how that goes. I had to rearrange my whole house when I started with seahorses. So I hear you. And it looks like Denny's got a reef tank that's 160 gallons, which is amazing. And what I wanted to know though is you said you were setting up a seahorse tank. So where are you going with that? What size are you doing with that? And yeah, I mean, we'd love to see your reef tank. Tell us what's in it. Tell us what you got going on with it. We love hearing about that. Salty, do you still have your reef tank up? You do, don't you?
Um, I have the 75 up, but I got rid of all my coral and stuff
Oh,
because I'm planning a big tank right now.
so you're upgrading
So
the reef too?
yeah, yeah, the reef's getting
Crazy.
upgraded too.
You're nuts. You're crazy trying to do both at the same time. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going big this time with the reef tank.
Oh
So
yeah. What are you planning?
I'm getting the 300 deep dimension from Marine Man.
Wow. I'm jealous, and then again, I'm like so glad it's you. What kind of plans do you have for the reef tank? I'm curious.
As for what?
Like, have you decided what pump you're using? You're gonna put a fuge on it? I'm assuming. I mean, I'm sorry, sump on it. I'm assuming. What?
Yeah.
How big's the sump?
It's it's between like a 70. Well, it's gonna have a 75-gallon refugium, and then either an actual 75-gallon sump, or I'm gonna try to fit the 100-gallon Rubbermaid tote in there somewhere. I'm just trying to make room, and then I have two 50-gallon lowboy frag tanks that are gonna be tied into that system with it.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I love all of the plans. I'm curious though. Anybody watching, guys, have who's used the totes? I know there are certain ones that are supposed to be safer and better for use. And Salty, I'm asking you too because I tried using a tote one time on the 90-gallon Seahorse tank and it leaked. And I just am so fearful of ever going back to totes again. So is this a special kind that?
Well, they're made for like horses, like horse troughs and
Oh
stuff.
wow,
Like you get them at Tractor Supply. They're made by Rubbermaid. It's 100-gallon, like thick. It's a real thick plastic tote. It's not really
gotcha.
a tote.
Well,
It's heavier duty.
that was probably my issue. Is I probably tried to use the wrong kind. But um, when you do get it set up, please share with us because I don't see that as often anymore. It seems like people um, I don't know where they're getting their riches because I sure can't afford all that crap. But it seems like, and don't get me wrong, I think it's really awesome when people plan, save, and set up these amazing displays and amazing refugiums that just look perfect and have all the shiny, bright equipment, and the sump looks like a masterpiece of art. I think that's awesome, but I wish I did. I honestly wish I saw more of, the rigged type situations where people use what normal people could use. So
Well,
definitely, go ahead.
yeah, my system will definitely be a lot of that, like a lot of DIY, a lot of budget. I mean, it's definitely expensive to do a tank that big.
Yeah. And I know that you're going to share all of your adventures in making this tank on this channel, of course. So we'll get to see
Yeah,
it, guys.
yeah.
But
I can show my 75, but I mean, that's really nothing to it. It's just fish.
well, still, let us see it. Might as well have some good background. If you're not on baby duty, don't worry. If you're still on baby duty, no big deal. Um, and Kim said yes, she wants to see the tank. But
Yeah, the baby just does not want to go to sleep tonight.
well, don't worry if you can't. Please don't worry. Denny is still with us, and he said his equipment area looks like a mess, but it works. Right. And see, I feel like people don't like to post that very often because there are so many of these glamorous, beautiful tanks, which we love looking at. Nothing wrong with it. But I really like the DIY and Cheryl Taylor uses koi show tubs. That kind. I love seeing when people think of unique ways to make something work, even though they might not be able to do the fancy schmancy, personally made some. Both ways are good, but would love to see you guys as different posts. You can post on the Seahorse Whisperer Society page, in the visitor comment section, or you can post in Seahorse Sources group if you're talking seahorses. But I would love to see these either way. Either way.
I agree with Kim, what she just posted about there's too many critics when you post stuff like that.
Yeah, I know that's true. I mean, I do hear you. Um, but who cares what they say? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I know it sucks. I do hear you. That's why I'm still working on getting the site done where we can have a safe type place. I don't want to say safe space, that's bad. But, a place where we can share these things without worry that someone's going to be a jerk. Um, but in the meantime, I think that I'm an admin on the Seahorse Sources group. If we're talking seahorses, I think that's a really great group where um, the admin are really, the others are better than me, but they're very careful to try to make sure that everything stays nice. So, and in reefing, there's a lot of groups, and the thing is, sometimes you just got to realize that some people are jerks. And you told a guy off the other day for criticizing someone's stuff, right? Well, and there, that's a good thought too, is that you know there's a big difference between. Oh, we're seeing Salty's tank. I just wanted to mention that. Everybody look at him, not me. But there's a big. I'll finish my sentence and then we'll go to Salty's tank. There's a big difference between constructive criticism or helping someone figure out how to do something in a better way that might help them versus trying to be right all the time and just being a jerk, for sure. And Denny said the Apex Facebook group always shows crazy neat stuff. Well, and Salty, I didn't mean to talk through your whole show. I'm sorry. Um,
Oh, you're good.
the Apex group, the Apex folks are amazing and they're great, and their equipment's fantastic, and their group I'm sure is amazing, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to read comments at the same time. But I just like to see both. All right, Salty, tell me how many fish are still in the tank?
Uh, Too many. I think 12.
Yeah, and do
Yeah,
they?
I have the two clownfish, the hippo tang. I have four blue green chromis left, the yellow tang, fox face, and three monos, silver monos.
Wow, you've got monos in there. Oh my gosh! I see it now. I do see it now. Wow.
There's
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the only coral I have left is the zoas. I actually got rid of everything else just because I'm gonna be tearing it down soon anyway. So
Sure. And when you sold your coral, did you set it up to where you can get like frags back when you set up the big tank, or are you just starting
yeah,
all over?
no, I gave it to a local reefer.
Very smart. Very smart. And I'm curious about the monos now. What has been your experience with them? Bad question.
So like no, it's just I got him because the same guy that got my coral bought them and it didn't work out in his tank. So he's like, "Hey, you want these?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I kind of fell in love with them. They're actually really cool and they're active and they're just fun to watch.
The ultimate reason that I asked is that my significant other, uh, very many years ago, had a cichlid tank, and anybody in the audience, please don't start jumping in and beating us up. We didn't know stuff then. But bottom line is, he had a cichlid tank, and he was sold some monos for a brackish tank. And we were told after we purchased them that that was not a good plan and that they belonged in saltwater. But I was curious, has anybody made any comments to you about the monos? Have you heard anything? What have you learned? Or nothing?
No, actually this is the first time I ever showed anybody that had them in my tank.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll get some comments in the comments, eh? Uh,
Yeah, like this is the first I've shown this tank at all because I haven't posted anything on Instagram or YouTube at all for a while.
Well, hey, y'all, this is a sneak or a preview of the best before it gets taken down, unfortunately. I remember
Yeah,
you
it's not.
you showed it once on here, didn't you? When it had the
That
coral in
was
it.
the 125.
Oh, okay. You got so many freaking tanks, I can't keep up. Um, okay, well, someone asked about the zoas and asked you if they're like the easiest coral that you kept, or how their
Um,
care is.
the Zoa, yeah, these are easy.
Yeah,
I mean, they've went through all kinds of crap. They still do great.
I was gonna say even when my tank kind of went to because of the fact that I let the lighting over the refugium. I don't even want to talk about it. I just messed up by not taking care of the lighting over the refugium, and a bunch of my SPS and even LPS just really suffered because of it. But the Zoas, man, they stayed good forever. And speaking of which, if you're watching from a Seahorse tank perspective, guys, we recently have started recommending not keeping Zoas in a Seahorse tank because we've had so many people have troubles with them stinging seahorses. Um, to each their own. I just thought I'd mention it. Anyhow, what else? With the fish that you're looking at, since you don't want to talk mono, which is your favorite?
Besides the monos right now,
Yeah.
my favorite fish is probably my sailfin. Like, yeah, that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love that fish, and he eats out of my hand. So
Wow. How big was he when you got him?
he was like the size of a quarter.
Wow. I was gonna say it's really difficult to find its sailfin, right? Is that
I got every one of these fish except for the monos. I got every one of these fish at Petco.
no kidding? Wow.
Yeah,
And how? I mean, did you just never have trouble, or
I, I've never had trouble.
wow? Well, good. I mean that it's so nice to hear that some people have had a really positive experience with them. I think there's good and bad in every situation and every place that you're going to buy from. So really great to hear. Um, are the Petcos in your area just really well kept, perchance?
Yeah, the one close to me, I mean, the guy really does know what he's doing. So I mean, it actually it's pretty pristine.
Well, that's what it takes. If like I can tell too personally, if I go to a store and ask just a few questions, I can tell whether or not I'm dealing with someone who, can really help me or maybe not. So I'm just really glad that you have a good knowledgeable store in your area, no matter what the name on the door is. That's if it's working for you, it's working for you. Someone asked, and you didn't QT at all, right?
These no,
See? And again, we're not about judgment here, y'all. So, and the bottom line is that we've all had tanks. Well, I can say I've had tanks in the past where I've not done everything perfectly right because I was learning and because I was new. And, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. So it is what it is. Let's just leave it there. But I think that that's really awesome that you've had such good fortune with this tank. It's amazing. You've never lost
yeah,
any fish from it?
one of the blue green chromas.
Wow. Do you think that that was the case of them beating up on one or
I think so.
yeah?
I think it was either that or I had a the Fiji devil damsel or something like that,
Oh yeah.
and I think that's what killed it.
Yeah. I
But
had one of
I
those
don't
too.
doubt that.
They're not very nice.
They're pretty, but they're just man, they mean.
And the sailfin, how old is it?
I got it February.
Wow. And it's grown that much?
Yeah, I feed heavy.
Yeah. Feeding heavy works, right? As long as you keep the equipment and the bacteria up to par, hey, it works. And let's see. Cheryl said something. When you have 60, oh my goodness, you have when you have a whole bunch of tanks. And you're up to your ears. I hear you, Cheryl. I do. I do. I do.
I don't know
So
if you.
go ahead. Salty, show
I'm
us.
trying to here. I got a statue the other day at a yard sale because it's a seahorse statue.
Oh, I love it. How
It's
beautiful.
sand art.
Sand art. And what does that mean exactly?
It's it's made of sand. It's like compressed sand that I don't know how they got it to stay like that, but it's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And I mean, you got it at a yard sale? That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
got
great.
a bunch of like I don't know if you can see it, but there's
Yeah.
like I got it all for $1 at a yard sale.
Wow. I'm curious, guys, in the comments, how many of you do put artwork, whether it be figurines, whether it be paintings? I know that Lori, who jumped in for a while there a bit ago, her reef tank is massive and beautiful, and she has this gorgeous artwork above it. How many of you guys put art around the tank to kind of focus in on the tank? I've not been a person who's ever done that, but I think it's really cool looking. So, and Denny made a comment, damsels and clowns are related and both get aggressive for turf for sure. I'm curious, have you ever had any trouble with the clowns being aggressive?
Um, when I had when I had the anemone, the female clown was aggressive. But once I took the anemone, oh, I have a 6 line wrasse too, but I just saw it. That's what. But yeah, when the anemone was in, the female was aggressive. But since I got rid of the anemone, I don't have any problems. Like I would stick my hand in the tank and she'd bite me.
Right. That makes me really curious if I removed my bubble tip, if my clowns would be nice. For somehow I don't think so, but it's interesting. Um, I've heard that it's
Now,
because of the anemone. Oh, go ahead.
when I had my gold nugget clowns, they were just aggressive all the time. Like she
Really?
was just mean.
Huh. Goes to show, it just depends. And that's true for seahorses too, folks. I can't tell you how many times I've said that this or that, about seahorses, and then it's only true in some situations. Lucy and I have talked multiple times about how we have, or how I have a bachelor pad seahorse tank of really mean males. And not all of my males are mean, most are not, but I have three that are just terrible. And so, it depends on the personality. They do have personalities. And so, let's see. Oh, and
Uh,
Denny said for him the tank is artwork. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. What were you going to say, Salty?
Kim asked where I'm at. I'm in PA.
Hmm. We got everybody from all over the world in this convo. All right, guys.
And I agree with Denny. The tank itself is artwork, but like with this only being the 4 foot tank and it's shorter than the 125, I wanted to put something to fill the gap, and that's why I got all the statues and stuff.
Sure. Well,
Because usually I'm against putting anything around the tank that's going to take away from the tank.
mm, I never looked at it that deeply. And in the case of like Lori's tank, it really does like add to it. It just you'd have to see it, but it's really really cool, and it does add to it. But I hear what you're saying, where it could take away. I guess it does depend on what you're doing. Um, anyhow, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm curious too. I did say that I was going to try to make this a short one tonight, anyways, because I didn't have topic or guest. But I wanted to definitely get with you guys and just say, hey, anything else you want to talk about, please comment now. But I'm curious also, as I'm lining up different topics and different guests for future Wine Wednesdays, I want to know what you guys want to learn about or who you would like to see come on. For instance, I've been focusing on getting some of the feeds and frozen foods specialists in, but I'd be very curious to know what you would like to learn about or who you might like to see come on and explain things. I know someone mentioned Apex earlier. I'm dying to get some Apex people in here because I want to learn about Apex. But yeah, please let me know in the comments or send me a message or on SWS page. Let me know, what you'd like to hear more of, who you'd like on, and that kind of thing. Salty, what do you have any thoughts of anybody that we should bring on? I love putting you on the
Um,
spot.
I definitely agree with the Apex thing because I'd love to learn a lot more about that. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you guys in the comments definitely let us know, what you'd like to learn about. Oh, and just to make let you guys know, when we talked last week about disease and that kind of stuff and quarantine procedures, I have contacted quite a few people, asking them to come in and talk about their experiences and their knowledge about the subject. So I didn't forget. It's a work in progress. I will get some people in here for us. And Kim, discount for bulk order, wouldn't that be swell? Well, let's not count on it. Let's just try to get them in here to explain. But boy, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And anyways, all right, guys. Anything else we want to chat about? Denny, I do see your comments. Um, you had a nano tank with clowns, and they would even jump when you opened the hood. Whoa, yeah. My clowns are definite biters. They're not nice people, and I'm thinking about seeing what happens if I take the anemone out because that's a really interesting comment. And you run Apex on your reef tank? Well, Denny, then what we'd like is for maybe next week, if you don't mind, if you're available, what we want is for people to come in so that, these questions from the comments and the questions from me or whoever's in the chat, that you can answer them. Because when you answer from the comment section, it delays and it takes a minute. As you can see, Salty joins and never shows his face. You can join and just talk very easily. I can show you how, no big deal. But you could put a picture up of your system and take questions about Apex for sure if you want to do that. And I meant like I will also contact some of the people who actually are in the company too that can share some stuff about it. But anyways, yeah. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to discuss tonight? Sorry again, I wanted to keep this one short since it was just really basic, but um, you know, I'm in planning phase for much better, guys. Just stay with us. And I don't know. Anything else salty from you, or shall we call it and join up again next week?
That's all I really had.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I am going to call it for tonight, but hopefully we'll have guests next week and/or we'll at least have a topic. That way we have a focus on what we're talking about and it's a little more, you can come if you want to talk about that. But Denny, please message me because if you want to talk Apex, we'd love to have you on. Anybody's welcome here. So, all right, guys. Well, happy Wine Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Say bye, Salty.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Cheers.